November and December are literally some of the craziest months I have in recruitment, have done so for almost the last 20 years. And I just see my competition dropping off. I see people getting lazy. I see people winding down at a Chrissy. And that's where I just think, man, like that's my opportunity to go. But there's a phenomenon happening in November and December that plays out every single year. Year in, year out, it plays out. And if you know how to play that game, you're going to win big. And I'll tell you what that phenomenon is. I've tried to come up with a name for it. I've called it the pre-Xmas New Year's Eve resolution lie, okay? And if you can understand what I'm about to tell you, and you can now articulate this to your clients and candidates, I'm telling you, it could be a magic bullet for your desk. A magic bullet, okay? So listen up. This will be a quick episode. Listen up. And I think you already know where I'm going with this because we've talked about it before, but even if you know about it, stick around to the end because honestly, let this one sink in. Now, November, December, what's happening in the world, in Australia in particular? We're winding down. Summer's coming out. The party season kicks off. Race season kicks off. Christmas parties, end of year celebrations, all that jazz, right? It starts to wind down. And what candidates start to say to me every year when I speak to them, if I'm reaching out to them or they're applying to ads, is, look, I'm ready to move, but I don't think now's a good time to move. And I always think, why do you say that? And they say, because I see that in the new year, everyone's got new ads and new roles and, there's probably a bit more opportunity in the new year. Doesn't that make sense? And logically, they're correct. Logically, you would think that in a new year, companies are in the same boat, thinking, cool, new year, we got to get some plans in place. Let's make this a good year. But it's actually the opposite. What I find companies and corporates are doing in November and December, yeah, they're ramping down, but they also plan a quarter ahead. They're already in the new year thinking, we've got the pipeline of work done till Christmas. We've got our resourcing there, but I'm seeing a huge gap. We've got strategic imperatives that we need to line up. So we want to have someone ready to rock and roll in January, right? And I think this is where people get mixed up. People see a lot of people starting new jobs in January. You have to understand, they didn't just go for that job in January. They went for it in October, November, December, and they're starting in January. And you see that thing come up on LinkedIn. I'm starting a new job. So candidates think that November, December is a crappy time for recruiting. And I think that January, February is a better time for recruiting. I think there's more opportunity. But it is literally the opposite. What is happening in November and December, right, is companies are lining their resources up and their hiring strategies are in place to secure someone before Christmas so that they can have them starting in the new year so they can get the next year off with a bang. Okay? So if you're a candidate in the market and all the other candidates are thinking the same as you, because they are, which is, next year's a better time to go look for a job, I'll wait until the new year, be the candidate in the market. You want your candidates to be the one in the market in November, December, because they're going to have all the lion's share of roles and opportunities that are around, okay? Because what happens in January, or what happens on January 1st, is every single human in this country has a New Year's resolution. Everyone has a New Year's resolution. Now you're laughing, going, yeah. And guess what? If you're unhappy with your job in the year that was, one of your New Year's resolutions is, I'm getting a new job. So come January, okay? Now all the roles are filled in November, December, and you've waited until January as a candidate to go, I'm going to get in the job market in January. Guess what? You're now against not only everyone who thought the same as you, but now you're actually against 5 times as many candidates in January because they've all had New Year's resolutions of, I don't like my job, I want to find a new job. So the job market gets hugely skewed pre and post-Christmas, in my view. Pre-Christmas, no candidates, heaps of jobs. Post-Christmas, heaps of candidates, not nearly as many jobs because all your executives and corporates are off skiing and off on holidays and doing their summer vacations and dribbling back, and no one makes decisions when the whole executive team's not there, right? So you've got this two-speed economy playing out right now. And this is why if you're savvy, if you're on top of it, you're watching your competition switch off and slow down. You're watching everyone kind of go on holidays and whatever. November, December should be some of the best months in your year. They really, really should, okay? And if you can take this logic, and this is where you come into play here, we all know, I'm pretty sure we all know this, but if you can take this logic and you can articulate it to your candidates and your market right now in November, in December, you're going to make tons and tons of placements because it's so freaking logical, and it couldn't be more true, okay? So that's it. The image I have, and I'll see if my editor can put this up on the screen for you. There's that famous picture of that sprinter who right at the finish line launches himself forward like a Superman to dive to win the race. That is what needs to be in your head. That needs to be your motivational, inspirational picture and ethos right now coming to Chrissy. It's not to take the heat off and start to trot before the finish line. It is to sprint. It is to sprint. It is to sprint. And then when you see that finish line, you launch yourself forward and you just go as fast and hard as you can. You do not stop until you get to the end. You do not stop until you get to the end. I repeat, do not stop until you get to the end, okay? Your end. It might be tomorrow, but it might be middle of December. Whenever you deem your year end, that's when you stop. You do not stop before. You do not wind down. You keep going, okay? We're in sales. Don't lose a month or two because of Christmas. You can lose the time you have off. That's it, okay? That's all I have time for you today. Like, share, subscribe. It really helps us grow. We're over 50,000 views a month now, so thank you everyone for listening, tuning in, watching and consuming however you do it. It's amazing. We're going to see this thing grow even bigger in 2025, so stick around. Keep listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, have an amazing day, and may all your deals come true.